Do you want to tell us a little bit how she died? Kind of get into, if anything, from your standpoint, where you were at, how you found out, everything from your point of view.
Yeah, well, I will start with the, I'll start with the end, if I could.
Yep.
I pronounced her dead.
Okay.
So back up from that. There wasn't anybody to tell me. I was there. Mm-hmm. Not when it happened, but immediately after. So we were visiting. We were up in southern Utah, visiting my wife's family.
Where at in Utah?
It's a little itty bitty place called New Harmony.
Okay.
It's 15 miles, I think, or so south of Cedar City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you've already climbed up the cliffs.
Mm-hmm.
So you're up on the plateau where Cedar City is already from St. George.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were visiting her family. We had visited there all the time. A couple times a year we went. We'd had an amazing day. We'd all jumped on ATVs and Jeeps, and we'd gone up into the mountains. There was a little historic home with a pond, and we'd had a picnic there. And, it's just as the whole family, and it was amazing. And everybody had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had gotten back down to her aunt and uncle's place, and we were talking with them. And my wife's cousin, he's the son of her aunt and uncle, was going to head back to his house. And Addie and our youngest, Lydia, wanted to ride with him to go back to his house. And then a couple of their kids were going to ride with us. But we were still talking with his parents. And so they left, and about 5 minutes later, we left. And as you're leaving New Harmony, there's a long stretch of 2-lane road between New Harmony and the I-15, the freeway.
Okay.
And it's sort of rolling through farmland and ranch land. It's gorgeous. And as we are coming up over a little bit of a roll, we see an accident off to the left-hand side off in a field. And there were a couple of cars already pulled over. People are helping them. And I, as we're coming up to him, like, Tracy, I think we ought to stop, because I know a lot of first aid stuff with my job. But Jason had already left with the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we better stop just to make sure. Stop, pull over, and I get out and I go up, and it's not until, so the few people that were there were trying to deal with the people on the passenger side of the vehicle. And I should explain, he'd been driving a big F-350 truck, and in this accident, I still didn't know it was them.
Yeah.
The truck shell, the passenger compartment, had become separated from the frame and the bed. So the frame and the bed were on one side.
The cab actually
So the cab came off of that, was upside down on its roof.
Oh my gosh.
Probably, 30, 40 feet away.
And it was a single car accident?
Single vehicle accident.
Okay.
What we found out later is Jason was going too fast. And that kind of gives him, I don't want to give the impression we're upset with him. We're not. We know he drove too fast.
That'll be a question maybe we can visit after, though, too.
Perfect.
So he was driving too fast.
A tire
lost
blew.
Control. Oh, a tire blew.
Tire blew. He went off. And on the side of this road, it kind of goes down. There's a little ditch. He went down, hit the ditch. They started tumbling end over end.
Oh, my gosh.
And the vehicle came apart.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you come up on the scene.
I come up on that. I get out.
You don't know it's them yet.
Don't know it's them still. Because the truck is destroyed.
Yeah, you didn't realize it was his.
No clue it was them. And I'm thinking they're gone. So the people are dealing with the passenger side, and I go to the driver's side. And that's when I saw that it was Jason that was driving. And I instantly saw he's dead. Right?
He was dead.
Oh, he's dead. Right. And Addie had been sitting directly behind him, and she's dead. Right. It's immediately obvious she's dead. Right.
And just from your background as a police officer and visiting scenes, you just knew that it was.
And the trauma.
Lights out, just it's done.
It's over.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even.
There's
a
glimmer of hope.
Nothing you can do.
It's over.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I will tell you this, and I don't know if it's going to make a lot of sense, but because of my years in dealing with these types of things, I immediately, I didn't feel anything. I went immediately into cop mode.
Your training took over.
Which I had problems with later.
Okay.
Personally, but it happened. And so I went, I just immediately knew they were gone. Didn't have time to mess with them. The other people in the car needed help.
Yeah.
And so we were getting them out of the car, and Lydia was screaming. She was very hurt. I didn't understand how hurt at the time, but it was obvious she had suffered significant trauma.
And you can understand that from a parent standpoint when a child screams, when they're like, I don't know, there's definitely different screams, right? There's the like, oh my gosh, get away from me. I don't want you to hit me scream of like their brother doing something to him. And then there's the scream of, oh my gosh, like something is wrong.
Yeah, it was, well, number one, her leg was pointing the wrong direction. So, it's obvious she has suffered severe trauma.
Yes.
Right. And we're trying to keep her and the other kids, because there's 3 other kids just beyond her that are very hurt in the truck. 2 of them were Jason's kids, and one of them was the girlfriend of his son.
Okay.
So all 4 of them that are still alive have suffered severe trauma. And we're dealing with that. And Tracy came up.
And Tracy is
my wife.
Your wife.
Is my wife.
Okay.
So she came up.
Because you didn't really come back yet
I
or
did
tell
not.
her anything. And she's like, what's going on? So then she's coming over.
So she's coming up. And, I have no problem talking about my many failures in life. But because I was in cop mode, right? And I'm used to giving orders in cop mode because I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the lieutenant. People do what I say at crime scenes. Right. So I know what has happened on the other side.
Yes.
Right. And I know how messed up Lydia is and the other kids. And so I ordered Tracy back to the car.
Yeah.
Right. And she didn't do what I said. So I ordered her a second time to back the car. And it wasn't until somebody at the scene's like, hey, man, that I realized what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so that, that's another thing.
Yeah, of course.
Man, what an idiot. But I wasn't I was in this totally other frame of mind.
Of course.
Someone that's outside of that doesn't understand what you have, the training that you've gone through, the experiences that you've had, the different scenes that you've come up on would say, oh, that's ridiculous. But somebody that's in that mindset, your training took over.
Yes.
It's the same thing with her and some of her medical training. If something happens, it becomes, I'm in work mode. I'm not in comfort my wife mode.
Right. I wasn't in husband mode. I was in lieutenant mode.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I have some issues with that I dealt with afterwards. But, again, it wasn't until the guy tapped me and said, maybe you need to chill out, dude. And to where I figured out I was being an idiot. Anyway, the ambulance came. They were wonderful.
Somebody else called? Did you have somebody call?
They were already called by the time I get there. I checked to make sure that they had called before I even went to the other side of the truck and saw what had happened.
Yeah.
They got there. The emergency response folks from all sides were wonderful. And then they took the 4 away, and Tracy went with the ambulance. By that time, members of the family had arrived. Some of them drove our vehicle with our other children to the hospital. And I stayed there. I don't really know why, but I wanted to stay until Addie was taken out of the car. And there was no need to take her out.
Did you want to see?
No.
You just.
I knew I'd seen her. I knew how messed up things were. But I just didn't want to leave her in the car. Doesn't make a lot of sense because she's really not there anymore. It's just her body.
I think it makes sense.
Just was. So I waited and they didn't.
As a police officer though, is that typically what you do anyways too? From like if not minus your family, if you were called out to a scene, do you stay there until like the truck's removed and like all the people are taken away? Yeah. If you're in charge, then you're there, right? So
absolutely.
I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I also think from a parental standpoint that it makes a lot of sense too. That's just me.
Yeah.
From a protector, provider, father figure.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really what happened, right? Now, Lydia was life flighted up to Salt Lake City to the children's hospital up there, and Tracy went with her. And
then the other three, minus Lydia, because was there four or three?
The other three, left.
Yeah, the other three left other than Lydia. Did they all survive and get taken care of?
Yeah, they weren't in that car. They were in our car.
Well, it means the other people that were in the truck.
The other three that were in the truck.
So sorry.
Yeah. Because you said there was
three others.
The guy that was driving, his two kids, and then one of them, their girlfriend or something.
You're right. So Jason and Addie died, and everybody else lived.
Okay.
Right. With various degrees of trauma from the accident.
Yeah.
If you like this section of the podcast, but want to see the entire podcast, tap or click the screen here. YouTube also thinks you might like this video. Remember, subscribe, shine bright, and we'll see you in the next video.